Hey everyone. So I've listened and I've decided to build a web app that somehow utilizes NFTs. Just to be clear, this is going to be a super high level type of tutorial. We're going to code, we're going to show different technologies, but also what we're going to learn mostly is how to research answers, especially in development aspects of it. So I was supposed to use OpenAI ChatGPT to show you how to search answers from there. But unfortunately, I keep trying to log in and I keep getting this result where I'm not able to log in. But it's okay. I wanted to make this video anyway, so I'm going to show you how to research using Google or using documentation. So what we're building on this quick tutorial is basically there's going to be a form where people put in a wallet address and then you search NFTs, and then it's going to list all the NFTs that that wallet holds. But also there's going to be another input field where you can put in a collection address and a wallet address, and it's going to retrieve all the NFTs of that NFT collection. So there's going to be different technologies that I'm going to be showing you. So first off, for the front end, everything that is visual, we're going to utilize something called Nextjs. Nextjs is basically a JavaScript framework. It utilizes React components, and the reason I'm using Nextjs and not just React on this tutorial is because Nextjs makes it so easy to handle routing in URLs. As you can see here, it says nextjs.org/docs, and Nextjs makes it so easy to create these /docs or /pages. With React, routing becomes a little bit more complex. And then for the NFT retrieval, I was going to use Alchemy to actually pull data from the blockchain, but I wanted to make it so much simpler on this video. I did not want any beginner to find it overwhelming. So what we're gonna do is utilize the OpenSea API to pull this data for us. But as promised, I wanted to do something related to blockchain connection. For that reason, we're going to be able to connect to MetaMask. We're going to be able to connect your wallet, and then you can see your information from that wallet. And to do that, we're going to utilize a technology called Moralis. Moralis SDK basically makes it so much easier for us to connect to the blockchain and retrieve data from it. React Bootstrap is going to be our design system. So instead of us having to design the whole pages, we're going to utilize React Bootstrap components. If I show you an example here, if I go to components, you will see they already have ready-made components such as the alert forms, let's say breadcrumbs, for example, or a model if you decide to have a model. And we're going to utilize all these technologies. So now that I've introduced the technologies and what we're going to do, let's get started. So first question is, what do? We need to start up by creating the project, setting up the project, the information we need, the packages we need. And to start with that, we're going to utilize Nextjs documentation. And if you go to the Get Started page, you'll see there's an automatic setup. So I've already created an empty folder, so go ahead and do that. I'm going to open up the terminal for this one. I'm going to set up this project under tutorials. So if I just copy paste this will generate a React Next.js app. It's going to ask us for a name. Let's call it NFT Web. Would you like TypeScript? I'm not utilizing TypeScript on this, so no. ESLint, I do like using ESLint. So let's install all these packages. You'll see on the left here that all these files are going to be auto-generated for us. And a web page is going to be ready for us to use instantly without having to do anything. So let's just wait for it to download. And as you can see, folders and files were created. We see a pages file, and this pages file is super important. It's exactly what I've shown you here. If you go to /docs, what you'd have to do in Next.js is create a folder called docs here, and then create an index.js, basically. So that's how you would do that. So let's go to the index.js, which is the entry point of this app. So as you can see here, there's already some code written for us. And if you want to view the web version of this, you just run npm run dev. Sorry about the error. I need to cd into the folder. So you need to be in the root folder before running npm run dev. See, yeah, so now that our server is up and running, it's a local server basically. You can see here, welcome to Nextjs, which is here. We can change this to basically say whatever we want. Let's say, welcome to NFT app. And as soon as you save it and go back, and you'll see welcome to NFT app. Okay, so now that we have our Nextjs app set up, what do? We said we wanted a form where you put in a wallet address. So let's say you don't know what to do now. You want to research it, and you know you're going to utilize React Bootstrap. So you go to the React Bootstrap documentation. So in the Bootstrap documentation, first thing you'll need to do is actually installing it. So if you go to the Getting Started page of React Bootstrap, it actually gives you a step-by-step guide on how to do it. So as we did for Nextjs, we're just going to copy paste the automatic way of doing it. So you copy paste this, you go back to your project, and you npm install the packages. For me, I've already installed them, so it might go very quickly. The video cut off, so I had to restart the video. So now that we have React Bootstrap, we also need to place the style sheet, the CSS of this React Bootstrap, into our first ever page that calls all our components. And in Nextjs, this is called inside of the -app.js. The -app.js is actually the first point when Nextjs is opened, or any Nextjs app, it's the actual -app.js. So if you go here, you just have to copy and paste the style sheet. And now any CSS that's done on React Bootstrap is going to be able to work here. So we said we wanted to have a form where you can put a wallet address and a collection address and search for it. So we know we need to do that, and we know this is a form basically. So if we search here on the React Bootstrap, and this is a good exercise on how to research how to do things. So you can either search here and you write forms, for example, or you can find it on the sidebar. So the first thing that we get here is an actual form that has an email address, password, and a button. For us, all we need is a input field for the wallet address, an input field for the collection address, and a button that says search NFTs, for example. So here it's showing you the actual design, and if you scroll down, it gives you the code. So basically the code tells you to import button and import form from React Bootstrap. So let's do that. So in index.js, all you have to do is import form. You'll have to do this because we want to use the simpler way. I don't want to use the one they're showing. So import form and button from React Bootstrap. Let me explain what the difference is from what I've done and the way they're showing you how to do it. So basically the way they're doing it is they're using two lines, but also they're actually importing from the exact file that button is found on the React Bootstrap. But the way I've done it with these curly braces is basically without having to do a slash here, it will automatically find the form component and the button component for me. So now that that's done, let's see how the form looks. Let's just copy paste the whole form. So let's copy paste this. Okay, I'm just tabbing because I like my code to be tabbed. So if we save, we have not changed anything yet, right? So if we save and we go back to, we rerun our server, so npm run dev, and we open the localhost 3000, we already have the form that is shown on the Nextjs. We have removed all the previous code that was there from Nextjs, so now it's an empty page where we added this form. So first thing, let's change this email address and put the wallet address instead. So how form works is there's form groups. So every input field has a form group. As you can see, there are 3 items here. The first one is email. So let's change this to wallet address. First thing is the label, which is the thing shown here. And then we need to change the type of the input. This is text, this is not an email. And the placeholder, which is if you have not written anything, if you have not written anything, then you have to basically show people what's actually there. So enter wallet address. Okay, now that that's fixed, we have wallet address. I know I wrote Waller, so let's change that to wallet. We don't need this. We'll never share your email with anyone else because we're not saving anything. And let's change the password field to collection address. I'm sorry for the keyboard sound. I'm not using an external microphone. So type text, placeholder, collection address. That's all we need, actually. We don't need this checkbox. So let's save this and see how this looks. It doesn't look the best, but we'll do some changes in the components very soon. So here we have a wallet address where someone can enter the wallet address. We have a collection address where someone can enter their collection. All good. So the submit button, I don't like the text on it. So how do I change the text on the submit button? So the button component here, we can change it from submit to search, for example, NFTs. And now it's changed. So this is taking the whole of the page. So there's this component in React Bootstrap called container. As you can see, container, if you add fluid to it, it's going to be a little smaller. It's not going to take the whole page. It's going to add in some padding on the sides. So let's put the whole form inside a container. So if you write container, it's going to, Visual Studio Code is going to give you a way to actually also import it. So if I just click enter here, it has already imported it for me. So it needs a closing tag, so let's put the closing tag here. And now it should have changed a little bit. Yeah, as you can see now, there's margin and paddings, which makes it so much better. We'll try to add padding on the top later. For now, let's just keep going. So the first, let's just resume what we've done. All we've done now is add a form on the main page where you can put in a wallet address and a collection address. Now what we want to do is when you click this search NFTs, if there is a wallet address here, it's going to take us to this route, /NFTs/ and then the actual wallet address. So that's what we want to do. So to do that, as I've explained before, there's this thing called pages. If we want the /NFTs here, we have to create a folder under pages called NFTs. And now what gets complicated is the actual wallet address. Let's say the wallet address is this text. This is dynamic because whatever you put here is not going to be for every, it's not going to be the same for every page. It needs to be dynamic. Wherever you put here and you search is going to take you to this. There's a simple way to do this in Nextjs, and that's why I love Nextjs. It's called dynamic paths. So inside of NFTs folder, you create a new file, a new JavaScript file, which is going to be a React component, by the way. So if you add these square brackets and you call here wallet.js, this will actually retrieve from the URL this actual dynamic wallet address. So this is a chance now to show you how to create a React component. So let's create a React component so that when someone clicks on search and it goes to this page, it shows us the page. So let's start off simple. So const wallet NFTs, let's call it wallet NFTs. And this is how you create a React component. You need to do const wallet NFTs, and then as if it's a function, and then you'll have to return some JSX here. So for now, let's just put a quick heading. H1 says wallet NFTs. So now it's not gonna work. So if I go here, I'm gonna get a 404 page not found. You might ask why. So the reason we're getting this error is because, okay, we have created the component, but Nextjs is not able to use it because we have not exported it. So the way to do that, you all have, for every component you create, every page you create, you have to export the component. And this is the way to do it. Wallet NFTs. So now if I just save, here we go. We're on this page where we put the header as wallet NFTs. So let's make it more fun. Instead of just saying wallet NFTs, let's say it says the actual wallet address from the URL. It's so simple to do it. So let's import a hook called use router. To import this hook, let's do it this way. From next, sorry about that. So we're importing use router from next router. So now let's have a variable that holds this hook. So let's call it a route. So route const route is equal to use router, right? And how do we get that wallet address from the URL? So to do that, you need to deconstruct it somehow. So you do this is equal to route.query. The reason we're actually putting curly braces here is because there could be multiple dynamic URLs. So it could be slash wallet address slash collection address. So if we had a collection address, we would just do route.query and then collection address, right? So let's just do it. Let's just do it this way now. We're getting that. So let's just say wallet and then the name of the wallet, NFTs. Let's see if we do not get any errors. Good news, here we have wallet and then the name of the wallet and then NFTs. So this use router was able to pull that data from the URL. And now you're saying, why is that important? It's important because now we have access to the wallet address. Now we're able to call OpenSea using this wallet address, and it will return us all the NFTs. So let's start doing it. Now you're asking the question, okay, what do? We need to fetch data from OpenSea for this wallet address. First thing you'll have to do is go to the OpenSea API, and they have this API endpoint that retrieves assets. And these assets, actually, you can put in params on there where it's the owner, the collection address, for example, and you can give it multiple different inputs, such as the limit. You just want to pull 20 NFTs or something like that. For now, what's important for us is the actual owner, which is the wallet address. So let's do that. First, let's pull the API endpoint itself. Let's copy paste that and put it in a comment here. So the way to use this param owner, you have to do question mark owner, and then you do equals the wallet address. And just this will actually return us all the NFTs from OpenSea from this wallet. Okay, so now that we know the endpoint, we need to know how to fetch it, right? I just want to explain to you quickly. So let's create a function that fetches these NFTs from this endpoint. So const fetch NFTs. Make sure to use this sort of writing variable names or function names. For functions, you always start with a capital letter, and then for like every word, you capitalize the word. So, and for normal variables, you would just put lowercase letters. So const fetch NFTs is equal to this. So we're just creating a function. So there's different ways to fetch. You can use await async. You can use fetch or Axios. For this video, we're gonna use something called fetch. So the reason I'm using fetch is because it's so simple to explain. So there's this JavaScript method called fetch, and fetch takes in a URL endpoint. So let's just copy paste this as a string, of course. So fetch will actually fetch from this API endpoint. Here it says wallet, but if we just keep it wallet as is, it's actually gonna try to bring in a wallet address that's named wallet. In JavaScript, what you have to do is change that for the actual variable. So let's use string literals. I'm sorry, I'm not getting into details what everything means, but basically string literals lets you mix between normal text and variables. So if you put these backsticks, and then you put a $, curly braces, and then the variable name, it's gonna return you the actual endpoint. So now that we're fetching, we need to resolve the promise, because this is an actual promise. It does not return the actual data itself. So we use something called this .then, and then we do response, and then we turn this response into a, oops, sorry about that. We return this response into a JSON. I'm not sure why it's changing my text, but response response.json. And we have to also resolve this promise again, which is .then, and then we give it a callback function called data, and we can actually console.log the data here. So let's just do that. So one thing we need to do is, in case there's an error fetching, we need to actually catch that error. So that if it fails, it's going to return us what the error was. So we will do .catch error, and then we're just going to console.log error. Okay, so now that we've created this actual function, how do we call it, right? So in React, the way to call it is so different from what you see in Node directly, where you just call the function like this. Like this would not work properly if you call it like that. So what we want to do is call this function as soon as the component is called upon. So there's this hook called useEffect, which is called every time you refresh a page or you make a specific change. So the useEffect is pulled from React, so it's already created by React. It takes in a callback, and you just call fetch NFTs here. You have to give it what type of variables are changing on this call. For this second, we're just gonna put an empty, so nothing changes. Just refetch at the first reload or load. If you add a variable here, it will refresh. It will call this function every time that variable changes. So let's test it. Let's see if we have any errors. We console log, so we need to inspect it on the console. Let's refresh this. We're gonna get an error. You might ask why. It's because the address here is undefined, because this is not an actual address. Right? So let's get an actual wallet address from somewhere from OpenSea. So we're just going to get a random wallet address, or we can use my wallet address. So we're getting this error where it says owner is equal to undefined. How do we fix this? So to fix this is, it seems like this wallet is not actually returning the wallet itself. Seems like this literal is not working properly. I'm not sure why it's returning. Okay, so here we can change this to every time the wallet changes, call this function. And now it's gonna work. Exactly. So as you can see here on the console.log, the only change we made here is that it fetches NFTs every time wallet changes, because maybe there was like a small millisecond issue where this was undefined, but then it was set. So now we are fetching every time the wallet changes. So if I go to another route to a different URL, this changes also. So it returned us this object. This object has assets, and these assets, it says I have 15 NFTs, for example. And these assets are NFTs, for example. I have 15 NFTs, and now I get all the information from these NFTs, such as the image URL, such as the creator, such as the token ID, and such as the description and the traits, for example. Okay, so now we need to save this information somehow. Like, we don't want to just console log it. We want to create certain design that actually shows us these NFTs. So to do that, let's create a state variable. So to do that, you do const, and then let's call it NFTs. Set NFTs. Set NFTs will handle the state. At the start, it will start as empty, like a null, and then once we actually fetch NFTs, we're gonna change NFTs from being null, which is nothing, to that actual array you saw here, the list of NFTs. So here, what you can see here with this data, instead of console logging only, let's set NFTs to data.assets. So now our NFTs is actually saved into that variable. We can utilize it on the web app. Okay, so to recap, all we've done now is fetch NFTs for a certain wallet, right? Let's actually create some sort of cards for every NFT. And to do that, let's go to React Bootstrap and look for cards component. Let's say we want to use this type of card. To do that, it says you can import card from React Bootstrap. So let's import that. Import card from React Bootstrap. And let's just copy paste this for now. And here you see we're returning the wallet NFTs. Let's change that to show us an actual card. We're missing the button, so we need to also import the button from React Bootstrap. And we have the card. So we don't have the actual image, so that's why it's failing. But we should have an image later on. Okay, so now what we want to do is, instead of card title, we want the actual NFT name. And we want the actual NFT description and the actual NFT image, right? So let's build that up. Let's build that card. And we put a card here. We have 15 NFTs. We cannot just copy paste this for 15. We need to be dynamic. We need to use it based on how many NFTs the wallet has. So to do that, we can utilize a concept in JavaScript called loops. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. However, I also want to check if this wallet has NFTs. If it does not, then just return nothing, right? You can later on put a message, a loading spinner, or anything you want. So to do that, you need to, inside the return, you need to check. And to check and to write JavaScript inside of the return JSX, you need to put curly braces. So you check, are there NFTs? We use ternary operator to ask this question. It's a conditional. Are there NFTs? If yes, then return something. However, every component needs to have a parent. So let's just use this empty tag or fragment to remove any future errors. So if there are NFTs, then return something else, return null. So what do we want to do here? We want to have a container that's going to have the list of NFTs. And we already know that React Bootstrap has this component. So we already used it before. So container, and then inside the container, we're going to create rows. The reason we're creating rows is so that we create some sort of wrapping system so that not every card, like the next card will be next to it, and then the third one will be next to it, and then the fourth one will go to the next line. So we want it to be responsive in that end. So we're using rows. And now the fun part is looping. So now we have a container, we have rows. Let's loop through all the NFTs. And to do that, again, if you want to write JavaScript, you need curly braces. So you do NFTs.map, which is basically a function that loops through the NFTs and returns something. And let's say you give it NFT and you give it an index. And then now we can write here the actual card we had here. So let's cut this out and put it here. I'm sorry about this. So I'm just cleaning things up, sorry. Yeah. So here we have the card title, the card image, and all that. What can we do with it? We can actually utilize this NFT object. So every time it loops, it's gonna get the first NFT, the second NFT with the index, right? So every card, we're gonna give it a key of index so that they all have different keys. Now for the card title, let's just change the card title and call NFT dot, you might say, I don't know what the variable name is in the object, but you actually do. If you look here on the console.log.assets, and then let's open one object, let's look for the name of it. And you see there is an actual, name parameter in there. So let's just do dot name. And okay, so here it's saying row is not defined. It's just that we did not import it. So let's just import it. As you can see, we have cards of all my NFTs. However, it's not looking super well here, right? We need to add some sort of column to make this work. So to make this actually work, let's add a column variable. So for every card we have here, we need to put call that we import from React Bootstrap. Let's put the card inside this column. So every card is going to be its own column, right? So there's different parameters we can put for the column so that it's responsive. So for large devices, we want it to be 4. So everyone's gonna get 4 units of it, and the maximum can be 12. So it's gonna be, for example, on one screen, if it's 4 for large, that means it's gonna be three cards, right? So let's put for medium. So for medium, let's choose 6 because we want less cards on a page. And for small, we're gonna say 12 so that every card takes the full screen card. So let's move this index into the column because that's what we're doing. Okay, so now that we have all the cards, we're seeing a small issue here where the cards are too far from each other. And to fix that, see, sorry to cut off again. You can see there's a lot of space here, and we're wondering why there's a lot of space between them. So the bug is here, like, let's remove this styling from the card, and let's add this class name, MB2 card hover. And now it looks so much better. So the cards are looking not too far from each other, and if you actually make this screen smaller, it actually is super responsive. Okay, so now let's add the other information, such as the image and the description. And to get that, we console logged the object before. So for every asset, we should have an image URL field, which should be somewhere here. So as you can see, there is an image URL field. And to get it, instead of the source that they're getting an image that does not exist, we need to put a variable, which is nft.image URL. As you can see now, it's actually getting the image of the NFTs that I own. So this is working properly. Now let's change the description and let's figure out how do we get the actual description, which is, again, you go to the object we're console logging and you find the description, which is here. So it's just nft.description. So here, instead of this text, we can have nft.description. And we should be all set. I want to add some sort of limitation because I don't want the text to be too long. So I want to add a class name to this text called text truncate. And it's truncating the text basically. Awesome. So this is working. Now the go somewhere. Let's change that says to find, go to find on OpenSea, for example. And now it's a button. Let's change this into a URL so that when someone clicks here, they go directly to the actual OpenSea page. So to do that, we're going to change the button. We're going to make it a link, which is something from Nextjs. So let's import link first. So let's import link from React. This should work. I mean next slash link. Yeah, so next slash link. So here, all you have to do is instead of button, you do link. You give it an href, which is the URL you want it to go to, and you do nft dot, and you're like, how do I find that URL? So to find that URL, again, like we did before, you go to the object, assets, and you try to find that URL, which is here, the permalink. So if you do nft.permalink, that should work. So link, and then you give it an a tag. I'm sorry, I'm not getting into too much detail. You don't need to put an href here, but you give it a class name equal to btn, which is a button. So because we want it to look exactly like this button. So btn primary, and then you also say text decoration none. And then you just give it this text. And you remove the button. So here's saying an error, invalid link with a child. And that's because Nextjs has updated the code, and this should not work anymore. But to make it work, you can just put legacy behavior as a variable here. So let's try it. So let's see if it takes us to the actual OpenSea page. Let's click here. See, it took me to the OpenSea page. Working, we have the image, we have the actual NFT name. You can put anything you want on this card. You can put the traits, anything you decide on your web app. So now that we know that this actually works, so if I click on any NFT, it takes me to the actual OpenSea page, as you can see. Now we're actually finished with this page. We're not going to make it more complicated than this. And of course, you can do any design you want. You can add a nav bar, for example, if you wanted. So now we need to go work on the main thing, which is actually dynamically putting the wallet address here and the collection address here. So if you remember, all this code was inside index.js, which is the slash, right? Because this is the first page you open on the website. This is the home page. It's inside index.js, inside pages. So let's go back here. We have this wallet address. In React, you need some sort of state variables that hold and save the state of every input field, for example. And the input field is inside the form.control. So I'm going to show you in React, again, creating a state variable. So you do const, and then you do square brackets, and you name the variable. Let's say here it's called wallet address, and you create a method that says set wallet address, and you do use state. It starts off as a empty object, so wallet address at the start is going to be empty, and the set wallet, every time we type on the keyboard, the set wallet is going to be called, and it's going to change the text of the wallet address. So let's start with the wallet address. So right now, this form.control takes in a value and it takes in an on change. So the value is actually the current value of the input, right? And to keep track of that, we do value is equal to wallet address. So now, every time this changes, the wallet address is going to show it here. And if we want to change the actual variable here, we need to do on change. This is basically a function. So this is an inline function. This is how you would do it. And you do set wallet address. Basically, every on change or on click takes in an event, right? So you can put in here E, you can call it event, you can call it whatever you want. And what do we want to set the address as? We want to set it as the current value of the field. So to do that, you just do e.target.value. Now this will actually save this wallet address every time. Let's not do anything with the collection now. We can even remove it because we have not coded the rest. So you can, this is actually an exercise for you. You should do it. Like everything I've done here, do it for the collection. So here, instead of just owner, you can do and then collection equals, and then collection address, for example. Okay. So for now, we're not going to do it. So let's just remove it just so that we don't cloud out the code. Okay. So what do we want to do when this form is submitted? Right now, it's just going to refresh the page. So let's create a function that when this button is clicked and submitted, it's actually going to take us to that page. So to do that here, we can do here on the form something called onSubmit, and we create a function. Let's create a function that handles this. So const, let's say go to NFT page equals, and then this is a new function, and then we could call it here, go to NFT page. So now every time this form is submitted, it's gonna call go to next page, either by clicking on the button or clicking on enter. Let's give it an E because this is also an event. Okay, so forms usually when you submit them, they refresh the page. We don't want that to happen. So you should do e.prevent default. This is a method that's not gonna let the form actually refresh the current page. And every time this is clicked, what we want to check is if wallet address is not equal to, let's say, an empty string, then we need to do something here, go to that page. And how do we, in Nextjs, how do we push to that specific page? To do that, we use useRouter, exactly like we used here. So let's import useRouter. Let's import useRouter. Let's give it a variable called router equal to use router, right? And then go to page, there's a function called router.push. And then let's give it a string retro because we want to give it a variable. And then here you put /NFTs because this is where we saved the file, right? Inside NFTs / and then here you actually give it the variable name, which is wallet address. And now this should work properly. Let's put in the my previous address. What I want to do is let's use my actual wallet address, which is this one. Let's put it here and click on search NFTs and see what happens with the previous code we've done. So search NFTs is going to take us to /NFTs and then the wallet address, and it returns a list of my NFTs. And this would work for any type of wallet. So let's say I want to limit, I just want them to return 6 NFTs. So on the API endpoint, you just add an 8% and you say limit equals 6. And now it should, if I refresh the page, normally now now it should actually return only 6 if I'm not mistaken. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exactly. So the limit will bring in 6. So we're actually done with this simple app. On the part 2, I'll show you how to actually connect to a wallet. And thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it.